Hello and welcome to InDepth. My name is Aditi Nagpal Girodra. One of the most well-recognized names of the women's tennis world bid adieu to the sport on Thursday. Maria Sharapova said she's hanging up her boots after a 28-year-old long career. With 5 Grand Slam titles under her belt, Sharapova's retirement comes at a time when she's struggling with chronic shoulder problems. She's also nowhere close to the top where she has been once. With the current ranking of number 373, Sharapova leaves behind a mixed legacy. While her fellow players always described her as inspirational and praised her fighting spirit, Sharapova faced a suspension on a doping charge. The Russian player is also one of the richest female athletes in history, earning millions on and off the court. Today's InDepth looks at all the career highs, lows, controversies and rivalries of the tennis star, who started as a child prodigy. Tennis great Maria Sharapova walked away from the sport quietly at the age of 32. Bringing to an end a career that includes 5 Grand Slam titles and prize money exceeding $38.7 million. In this report, let's look back at her 28-year-long tennis journey.
At the age of 32, 5-time Grand Slam winner Maria Sharapova on Thursday announced her retirement from professional tennis. In an article for Vogue and Vanity Fair magazines, the former world number 1 informed that she was walking away from the sport with immediate effect. Sharapova is one of only 10 women in history to complete the much-coveted career Grand Slam, winning all 4 majors, including the Australian Open, the French Open, the Wimbledon and the US Open, and an Olympics silver medal. In all, she won 5 Grand Slam titles and 40 professional titles, including 36 at WTA level. She also ranked at number 1 in the world, remaining at the top position for 21 weeks. She is one of the world's most recognizable and highest paid sportswomen.
See, when she came into 2001, what we knew was the Americans were right on top. She was the first Russian name who had the looks, who had the game, who had everything, and she was quite young. She made it as a teenager. So for somebody to break into the scene in a big way, and she made an impact. I mean, even as a junior player, she was like making a mark. And between 2001 and 2008, if you see the way she played, I think she won most of her slams then. Then of course came last of the slams was in 2014. So between say that era of almost 14 years where she was really doing well. But then of course later on injuries came in, and then she struggled with her, of course then we had that major controversy surrounding her when she when she was caught. But then of course she was caught for doping, but then the way it was presented that during the Australian Open, her sample was found to be positive.
Siberia-born Maria Sharapova first picked up a racket at the age of 4 in Sochi, where her Belarus-born parents had settled after escaping the deadly clutches of the 1986 Chernobyl disaster. She burst onto the international tennis scene at the age of 17 when she won Wimbledon in 2004 with a victory over Serena Williams in the final. She instantly shot to fame as the 3rd youngest player to conquer the All England club's hallowed grass courts. She then went on to complete a career Grand Slam with 2 titles at the French Open and 1 each at the US Open and Australian Open. In the 2006 US Open, Sharapova beat Justin Henin to win the title. And in the 2008 Australian Open, she defeated Anna Ivanovic. At the Roland Garros in 2012 and 2014, Sharapova secured wins over Sara Irani and Simona Halep respectively. She also won a silver medal at the London 2012 Olympic tennis event, falling to Williams in the final.
Sharapova's main achievements have been her 5 Grand Slam wins. She won her first title at the age of 17, the US Open. She's won 2 French Open titles, but clay was never her favorite. Even then, she won 2 French Open titles. She's won the Australian Open once and the Wimbledon once. But the thing is that she's been the Olympic silver medalist for Russia. That has been one of the biggest achievements. She's been the world number one. She's topped the rankings for 20 months odd or so. So these have been, and she won the Fed Cup for Russia. For the team spearheaded by Maria Sharapova won the Fed Cup for women.
But in 2007, Sharapova began her long on-off battle with shoulder trouble, although she was still ranked among the top 5 women tennis players at the end of that year. She won the 2008 Australian Open before a second shoulder injury kept her off tour for the second half of the season. She also missed the US Open and the Beijing Olympics. In 2009, Sharapova underwent a surgery for the injury. After a year of rehabilitation and a string of losses, she began to make a comeback in 2011 when she finished the year ranked at 4, her first top 5 finish since 2007. In 2012, Sharapova captured the French Open to become the 10th woman to complete a career Grand Slam. She also added an Olympic silver to her resume that year. Her 2014 French Open title was another high after a dispiriting injury. More fitness troubles followed before the bombshell announcement of her positive test for the banned hard drug meldonium. The former world number 1 is currently ranked 373rd. In the past year, Sharapova hardly played because of long-standing shoulder problems. When she did feature, she lost as many matches as she won and was dumped out in the first rounds at Wimbledon, the US Open, and most recently, the Australian Open in Melbourne. In her retirement message on Wednesday, Maria Sharapova said, and I quote, "In giving my life to tennis, tennis gave me a life. In whatever I might choose for my next chapter, my next mountain, I'll still be pushing. I'll still be climbing. I'll still be growing." Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Although the Russian sensation Maria Sharapova lived all her life in the United States, she always represented Russia. Besides capturing 36 WTA titles and a career Grand Slam, she established herself as an entrepreneur, launching her own line of candy, Sharapova. Known as a true superstar, Sharapova was a favorite with the world of endorsements with countless commercials. In this report, take a look at Sharapova's early years and her career beyond tennis.
Five-time Grand Slam winner Maria Sharapova is one of the world's most recognizable and highest-paid sportswomen. Born on April 19, 1987 in Russia, she started playing tennis at an early age. Sharapova hit her first tennis ball when she was just 4 years old. She took her first tennis lessons with veteran Russian coach Yuri Yutkin, who was instantly impressed when he saw her play, noting her exceptional hand-eye coordination. At the age of 7, her father Yuri moved to the USA with her with just $700 in his pocket. Maria was too young to be accepted at the Nick Bollettieri Tennis Academy as a full-time student. So for 2 years, Yuri coached her on public and private tennis courts. Their perseverance paid off and Maria received a scholarship to the academy in 1995. In 2000, Sharapova achieved her first success, winning the prestigious adieu championship for girls under 16. In 2001, Maria made her first professional tournament debut, and in 2002, she started accumulating victories in various ITF tournaments. Sharapova's maiden slam came on her way when she was 17-year-old at the 2004 Wimbledon. There are many ways to measure Maria Sharapova's success: 5 Grand Slam titles, 36 career wins, and a former #1 ranking in the world. According to reports, at the age of 32, Sharapova leaves one of the top earning athletes in her sport, male or female. During her 19 years long career, Sharapova is reportedly estimated to be worth a cool $195 million. According to Forbes, for 11 years, Sharapova was one of the top earning female athletes in the world, despite facing a drop in more than 50% of her income following her 16-month suspension from tennis from June 2017 to 18. But even in this period, she was still earning $10.5 million. Sharapova's earnings endorsements have outnumbered her earnings from the court. In 2006, she was at the top of the Forbes list of highest paid female athletes in the world. Sharapova endorsed the mobile phone company Motorola. She also upheld a contract with Land Rover and Canon, as well as the brand tag Heuer and jeweler Tiffany & Co., among others. With Nike, she launched the Nike Maria Sharapova collection.
She was not only known for her, game. She was also known for her looks, and well, she had a number of brands. She had the kind of presence she had. I remember the Sports Illustrated. She won the Swimwear of the Year award years ago, and thereafter, of course, all the top brands she has endorsed. And if you look at, one fine example would be that if you look at Forbes magazine, that voted her for 11 consecutive years as the richest tennis player in the world. So in your career spanning 20 years, which was full of ups and downs, for 11 years you were the richest. So irrespective of how you were faring on the court, the sponsors and the advertisers, the endorsers, they wanted her to endorse.
In 2013, after dominating the tennis world for a long time, Sharapova made her entry into the corporate world with her own brand, Sharapova. Sharapova is a candy line consisting of chocolates, gummies, gumballs and truffles. In fact, Sharapova is a result of a combination of factors aligning themselves in Sharapova's life. Maria's father used to reward her with a candy after a long practice session. That made her develop a liking for sweets. Sharapova's foundations lie in this candy love of the Russian sensation. However, one of the reported reasons behind the start of the company was a period of turmoil in Sharapova's life. She had a career-threatening shoulder injury that made her reconsider the direction of her life.
For somebody who came from Russia at the age of 6 and migrated to America with very little in hand and had played tennis only all the while, she was smart enough to invest a lot of her money into a candy business. One of many businesses. One of the main famous ones was the candy floss business. Apparently, she's earned close to $30 million from that business itself. So yes, she's got a very smart brain, a smart manager who's invested very smartly for her.
Besides this, she also launched the Maria Sharapova Foundation, a $210,000 scholarship program for students from the Chernobyl-affected areas of Belarus. Some portion of money from Sharapova goes to the Maria Sharapova Foundation. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
With this, we'll halt in for a quick breather, but we'll be back soon. Stay tuned with us. Welcome back. You're still with us on InDepth. In her 28-year-long career, Maria Sharapova was popular for her achievements, glamour, business, and a rivalry with Serena that continued for almost 15 years, right after their first clash at the Miami Open in 2004. Here's a brief history of Sharapova's journey off the tennis court.
In 2004, Serena Williams was one match away from her third straight Wimbledon title. All that was standing between her and a Grand Slam title victory was a 17-year-old from Russia. Serena was the heavy favorite in the final, but was noticeably tense during the entire match. It was something that the carefree Maria Sharapova lost no time in turning it into her advantage. Sharapova stunned the world by beating Serena Williams in the finals 6-1, 6-4. She had become only the third youngest champion in Wimbledon history. At the press conference, Serena quite ungraciously said she only played at 20% of her normal level. But from there on, it was all downhill for Sharapova. Both players next met 2 months later in the semi-finals of the Australian Open, and the match Williams won 2-6, 7-5, 8-6. The match had lived up to the hype of one of the greatest sporting rivalries. Since then, Sharapova won just 5 games in her next 2 match losses to Serena. In their last 8 matches in the biggest events, Grand Slams, WTA Championships as well as Olympics, Sharapova hasn't won even a set. Since 2007, Serena has won 94.4% of the sets they've played together, 34 of 36. Overall, the losing streak for Sharapova lasted 18 matches over 13 years. After starting the series down to 1, Serena now leads 19-2. Talking about her rivalry with Serena Williams, Maria Sharapova says in her autobiography, Unstoppable, My Life So Far, I think Serena hated me for being the skinny kid who beat her against all odds at Wimbledon. Their rivalry ended with Williams holding a 22 head-to-head record and playing on at age 38. This era has belonged to Williams, no doubt, but Sharapova made herself heard loud and clear just the same.
By far her most famous rivals. She's beaten Serena Williams on her course to win her Grand Slam titles. She was around at the time Justin Arden was there, and then Venus Williams, of course, was around. She's beaten Halep also, but the Williams sisters' rivalry was right there at the top, because the time when she came around and she ruled the charts was when Serena was also coming up to be one of the most one of the biggest title winners in women's tennis globally. And she was if you come to think of Serena, and you would also say that one of her fiercest rivals was indeed Maria Sharapova.
Maria Sharapova was popular for both her achievements, glamour, business, and her rivalry with Serena. Yet another controversy evolved when in 2014, during Wimbledon, Maria Sharapova failed to answer who Sachin Tendulkar was when she was asked about him. Tendulkar, who's a regular visitor at Wimbledon, was in the royal box in company with English footballer David Beckham, golfer Ian Poulter, and former England cricket captain Andrew Strauss. But when Sharapova was reminded of who were present in the royal box, she said that she was quite familiar with Beckham, but she didn't know who Tendulkar was. Tendulkar fans reacted angrily on social media when Sharapova admitted during a post-match press conference at the Wimbledon that she did not know who Sachin Tendulkar was. Maria Sharapova, the richest athlete in the history of women's sport, was banned for 2 years in 2016 for failing a drugs test during the Australian Open, leaving her illustrious tennis career hanging in the balance. Sharapova had tested positive for the newly banned drug meldonium. She was suspended in 2016. She said she was taking the newly banned drug developed for heart patients for years because of a magnesium deficiency, dizziness, and a family history of diabetes. She claimed to be unaware that meldonium had recently been added to the World Anti-Doping Agency's list of banned substances. After initially getting a 2-year suspension, Sharapova appealed to the Court of Arbitration for Sport that reduced the penalty. Her suspension was ultimately cut from 2 years to 15 months on appeal, with an arbitration panel saying that Sharapova should not be considered an intentional doper. But since returning from that suspension in 2017, Sharapova managed to reach only one major quarterfinal.
I wanted to let you know that a few days ago I received a letter from the ITF that I had failed a drug test at the Australian Open. I did fail the test, and I take full responsibility for it. For the past 10 years, I have been given a medicine called Mildronate by my doctor, by my family doctor, And a few days ago, after I received the ITF letter, I found out that it also has another name of meldonium, which I did not know. It's very important for you to understand that for 10 years, this medicine was not on WADA's ban list, and I had been legally taking the medicine for the past 10 years. But on January 1st, the rules had changed, and meldonium became a prohibited substance, which I had not known. I know that with this, I face consequences, and I don't want to end my career this way, and I really hope that I will be given another chance to play this game. And I know many of you thought that I would be retiring today and announcing my retirement, but if I was ever going to announce my retirement, it would probably not be in a downtown Los Angeles hotel with this fairly ugly carpet.
After playing for 28 years, Maria Sharapova has announced her retirement from tennis, but she wants her fans and enthusiasts to know that she is not quitting the game. In one of her media interviews, Sharapova called perseverance her greatest tool, but said it had ultimately worked against her as she tried to push through recurring injuries and revive a brilliant career. Her final match came in January 2020 at the Australian Open, where she was beaten 6-3, 6-4 by Donna Vekic. That sent Sharapova to 373 in the world rankings. With inputs from Bipul Agarwal, Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
So with this, it's a wrap on this edition of In Depth. Thank you so much for joining us.